What's up, everybody? Alan Johnson with the AJ team. We've been getting a bunch of questions, a lot of our past clients, friends, asking us whether they should refinance or whether they shouldn't refinance. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of things for you guys to think about when it comes to refinancing. So the first thing, if you are going to consolidate some type of variable debt, so if you have high interest credit cards, if you have a HELOC, if you have some high interest debt out there, looking to refinance, it might make sense because you can lock that debt into a much lower interest rate. So instead of having 20% or 15%, maybe you can get it to 3%, 3.5%, 4%, depending on where you're going to refinance. So that's one thing that I would be thinking about if I'm thinking about refinancing. Number two, if I'm in an ARM, so there are a lot of people who are in a 3-in-1 ARM, 5-in-1 ARM, 7-in-1 ARM, 10-in-1 ARM. If your ARM is about to expire, let's say over the next year or two, you may want to think about refinancing. I have an investment property that was about to, I think it was in a 7-in-1 ARM, and it was coming up in 2 years. Well, I knew that the interest rates weren't going to be cheaper in 2 years, right? That's a bet I'm not willing to make. So it made sense for me to refinance now that rates were cheaper, so that I could lock in something a little bit more long term, right? Because I plan on keeping the property. Number three, terms. Think about terms. So people always think about the negative. So say you've been paying your mortgage down for the next 7 years and you go to refinance. Well, typically if you go to refinance for another 30 years, you're extending the life that you're going to be paying for your loan by another 7 years more than you would have been paying it. Well, for some people that's not advantageous. So for some people that is advantageous. You have to think about like where you are in your life. So we had a client who needed more cash flow from their property because their kid was going to college. So they decided to extend their mortgage out so they could keep more cash so that they could use the funds to send their kids to college. So when you think about terms, and terms can be from 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, don't just think about it on one side. Think about the totality of where your life is and how you're gonna need to allocate your cash. And then last but not least, for all those people who want to be an investor, this is a great time for you to refinance, get a HELOC, and pull out money to go buy either a second home if you're thinking about retiring or an investment property, right? So these are four things that you need to think about. If you guys have any questions about refinancing, call us. You know, I've been analyzing these things for my own investment properties and for our clients for years. This is a very, very, very cheap interest rate environment, and that window is really, really tight. So if you have an interest rate that's let's say over 4.5%, we should be talking, right? It doesn't mean that you need to be refinancing, but it means that we need to have a conversation so I can ask you the questions to see if it makes sense. And that's what we're here for. We're here not just to sell your home, but also to make sure that we're the correct real estate advisors to help you make the correct decisions. All right? Alan Johnson with the AJ team. You have the dream, we have the address, and we'll see you soon.